Hey everyone, welcome to the Littleton Twilight Crit. This is the second to last stop on the ACC Pro Crit calendar near Denver, Colorado. I used to live here, went to school out here, so it was fun to come back and race. Got to do this race in some of the lower categories I remember, but super cool to be back for the night race. This is a 6-corner crit. It's pretty technical. It's pretty dark out. This course definitely has a reputation of being kind of dark, but this year, especially on the first lap when we got to the second corner that we're rapidly approaching here, there's usually a light in that corner, and you're going to see there's no light in that corner. There's some issue with the generator that caused the light to go out, and they ended up putting some like car headlights on the outside of the corner while they were trying to fix it, and it was not adequate, as you can see. Everybody was pretty sane through there. You see, we went like a reasonable 20 miles an hour through it in the pitch black, but everybody kind of eased into it throughout the course of the race. But I think everyone has a bit of respect for that corner. It is one of the tighter ones, and then combined with not being able to see anything made it pretty tricky. But I'll show you how I was getting through it later in the race. This course, mostly left-hand turns. They're all pretty wide open, except that second one that was really dark. The rest of them, I think I pedaled through all of them at some point in the race. This last one it always would bunch up into it, and then there was a lot of room because they put those fences up on the curb there. But there was big accelerations out of that last corner most laps, and then also out of that second corner, because that was another spot where it would go from bunched up to single file. So there's a lap. Gonna jump ahead, and this is less than 10 minutes into the race. We had a pretty big field. I think it was like 125 guys. It was a Pro 1-2 race, so there's a lot of guys on this course. You can see the train of riders already going around that corner. We're not quite there yet, and getting a little sketchy there. He calls himself out for that, but some guys are going to get even sketchier up in this corner. You're going to see a crash on the outside of the entrance to the corner, which is a pretty weird place for a crash to happen, especially everyone's slowing down so much and kind of so long before the corner. But I was able to just throw on the brakes and went over to the pit to take a free lap, and you see here we're gonna get right back in. This was like the friendliest put in I've actually had from the officials in a long time. I was a little worried because the field's coming by so fast, but the field was strung out like absolutely single file, so we still got put in like probably mid-pack here, which was very generous of them. I feel like usually we give the officials a hard time when they go the other way, but they did a good job that time. I was somewhere middle to back of the pack for the entire race. Didn't exactly line up near the front. I don't think there was ever really a time in the race I was making headway towards the front. I was just kind of like doing my thing in the pack, and then at some point I realized the motorcycle was right behind me, and I was like, oh, I'm at the back. But this is coming into that second corner I told you about, so what I started doing is I would just let a gap go into it because I knew guys were going to slow down a bunch for it, and I'd just corner into the space I created for myself. So I didn't have to do as many watts on the entrance, and I also didn't have to do as many watts on the exit because I was able to carry more speed into the back of those guys. It took me probably half the race to figure that one out, but by the end of the race I was even like sending it up the inside of guys on that corner when they were leaving it open. There's a little crash on the outside there. You see the guy standing up in his bike later. Didn't take anyone with him, which is impressive on that exit of that corner because you can't really see the exit when you're coming in. You got to just trust that there's going to be space for you to go into. Here is that second corner again, letting the gap go and gonna corner right into the space that I made for myself, and yeah, doing less than 200 watts on the exit to hold the wheel. So it was a pretty good line through there. And then jumping ahead, this is we're in the last like 10 laps now. I'm pretty far back. I realized around 10 to go how far back I was, and I started trying to move up, but like when you're only picking off like one or two guys at a time in a field of 120 dudes, you're not going to move up very far. So I think this was the only spot where I actually got a lot of places back. So you see crash on the outside, and a lot of guys sat up and lost a lot of momentum, and I found this space on the inside, and I got, I don't even know, 10 or 20 spots back there. I got a lot of spots. Could see the front of the race go through that corner again, and I thought for a second I was like back in it, but I don't know what happened. I think there was just like one too many gaps that opened up in front of me, and I just kept getting shuffled back a little bit, and ended up being pretty far back when we got down to this was 2 laps to go when we came through there. You can see there's a lot of guys in front of me, and I didn't really notice the altitude all race until probably like the last 10 minutes, and it started with I was just like super thirsty, even though I had already drank like a whole bottle over the course of this hour crit. Like I couldn't drink enough, and it felt like, and then the legs started to feel not so good in the last 5 minutes, but I was just happy to be out there having some fun. And at this point, everyone's single file. You're just kind of where you are back here. I think there's going to be a gap that opens up in front of me at some point that I can't do anything about, but they were just rolling in the back of the pack here. Ended up like 50th place. Wasn't really anything exciting. Ooh, that was a little exciting. Didn't remember all that. But yeah, the last lap was pretty inconsequential, just like time trialing basically after some gaps open. The front guys really laid down some impressive lap times to blow up the field on the last lap. So this is coming into 1 lap to go right here. Time trials are boring, so I'm going to stop it here. Thanks for watching, everyone.